All right, I can see people are already joining in. Hi, hello, good afternoon from wherever it is you're joining us from. Thank you so very much for joining us today. You're welcome to the Women Techsters Open Day, April edition. And we are thrilled and glad and elated to have you, wonderful women from across Africa, joining us today. If you know someone who is supposed to be here, but they are yet to join, you could just quickly shoot them a message and let them know that, hey, the session has started. So they ought to be here right now. We have all of our speakers on the call ready and available to give all that they have to give. Yes. So welcome once again. My name is Rolo Adetula, and I will be anchoring the session as much as I can. You can use the webinar chat to interact with us. So would like to meet everyone. I can see Keziah. Hi, Keziah. So please use the webinar chat to introduce yourself. And your introduction will go as follows: your name, your country, and what you would like to gain out of the session. So please just introduce yourself using the webinar chat, your name, your country, and what you would like to learn from this session. I'd like to believe that as you're registering for this webinar, there are certain things that you had in your mind as to starting out a career in tech and some of the things that you would like to gain. So please introduce yourself. We want to meet you, want to meet everybody on the call. I can see Success from Nigeria. Hi, Success, nice to meet you. I can see Ramat. Hi, Ramat. So please, again, your name, your country, and what you would like to learn out of this session. What are some of the things that you'd like to go home? I can see Asma Aram from Egypt. Hi, Asma. Dina is also from Egypt, so that's wonderful. I can see Francis from Nigeria saying that she would like to learn about digital technology. Awesome. I can see Keziah from Cameroon saying she'd like to learn about tech opportunities. That's really great. This is a session for you actually. So I would like to learn a lot. I can see Angie from Rwanda. Hi Angie, how's Rwanda today? So I would like to learn, I would like to hear from everyone on the call. Please let me know where you're joining in from and what are one or two things that you'd like to take home from this session. Like I said earlier, we have all of our speakers on the call ready for you. I can see people saying, I'm here to learn about emerging technologies and the opportunities that stem from it. I can see Timileyin from Nigeria. I can see Ruth from Kenya. We actually have both Mercy and Yvonne from Kenya today. So it's really amazing. So yes, we would like to learn more. So I know that there are some other people on the call who are from other places. I know that we have people from Zimbabwe, we have people from Tanzania. I know that we have people from Morocco. So if you're here on the call, would like to meet you, please just introduce yourself. I can see Chase from Ghana saying, I would like to learn more about tech. Awesome. You are in the right place. I can see JCM Susan from Nigeria also. Kenny says that she would like to learn about data analysis. I can see Sean from Nigeria says, I want to learn how to get a remote job. I'm quitting my current job to focus fully. Wishing you all the best, Sean, in this. Really wishing you all the best in this. I can see Stephanie also saying that she would like to learn about data analytics. This is actually the right place. And I'll just do a quick rundown about the Women Techsters, what it is about, what programs we have, and how you can leverage the opportunities that we have to be able to kickstart your career in tech. All right, so like I said again, this is the Women Techsters Open Day, and we are thrilled and elated to have everyone on the call today. The Women Techsters Open Day is it's curated for African women who would love to learn about technology, who would like to learn about how to kickstart their careers in tech. This is the right place for you. We have seasoned guest speakers from Africa who will tell you about how they started out their journey in tech and how they got to where they are right now. And then it's also an avenue for you to actually speak with them, ask questions, and get to learn. So the Women Techsters Open Day is a part of the advocacy platforms that we have in tech for dev to be able to reach more women and bridge the gap in STEM, the gender gap in STEM in Africa. So we do this through the Tech Girls Drive Advocacy, which is an on-site grassroots advocacy where we go to schools, meet young girls to actually teach them about STEM and about the importance of it, as well as the career opportunities that are available there. We did that last month in commemoration of the International Women's Day. We had fellows championing this across multiple countries in Africa. And of course, we have the Women Techsters Open Day, which is for you to come and listen to guest speakers speak about these tech careers and how they got into it. And it's also an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you may have about joining these sessions, right? And of course, we have the Women Techsters Bootcamp, which is a 3 weeks training program for you to actually get the idea, the most basic knowledge about any of the learning tracks that you choose, whether it's product design, product management, cybersecurity, data analysis, or software development. You can learn for 3 weeks, and you even go through project presentations and be able to learn from other young women across Africa. And of course, we have the Women Techsters Fellowship, which I'm sure quite a number of you here would know about. The Women Techsters Fellowship is a 1-year program divided into 6 months of intense training and 6 months of job placement, where you get to now go and learn deep tech skills. It's a deep dive into particular learning track that you pick, and we have 8. That is, with addition of the 5 I mentioned earlier, blockchain, we have I know we have blockchain, we have data, mixed reality, AR mixed reality, yes, and then we have mobile app development, yes. Mercy on the call is actually a mobile app developer. So for those of you who would like to learn more about that, I'm very sure that you can direct your questions to her. And of course, we have the Women Techsters Masterclass, which is for a more advanced audience, where we pick a particular learning track and then we'll go deep dive into addressing issues that are prevalent in that particular learning track. So I hope from that you were able to learn a thing or two about, the Women Techsters initiative as a whole, as well as, the opportunities that are bounding for you. I can see some other people have joined us. I can see Nzila from Zambia. I can see Aurelia from Kenya. I can see Brianna from Nigeria saying she heard about the webinar. Oh, first of all, let me start by saying congratulations, Brianna. So we had the Women Techsters Bootcamp Cohort 3.4 orientation ceremony earlier today. And Brianna is a boot star, and then she said that she's currently on the tech journey, so she would want to get everything she can. Her learning track is software development. Lovely to meet you, Brianna. Thank you so much for joining us. I can see Mercy also from Nigeria. I can see Ruth from Nigeria also saying that she would love to learn more about data analysis. I can see Vanessa from Ghana saying nice to meet everyone. I'm excited about this journey. I can see Rihanna, pardon me if I mispronounce your name, saying that she would like to learn more about product design. Yeah, so we really love everyone. Thank you all so much for being here once again. I would hand the baton now over to our wonderful executive director who is on the call. She would be giving you her welcome address all the way from the United States of America. Hi, over to you, Dora. Hi, Dora. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hi, Ore.
Hi, Dora. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can hear you loud and clear now. Yes.
Okay,
Lovely
and
of you to join
hopefully,
us.
let's see if you can see me. Okay, I think I can see myself as
Yes.
well. Okay. Hi, everyone. It's morning where I am. So good morning to everyone, or good afternoon or evening, depending on what side of the continent you're on at the moment. So welcome. Sorry, I'm sort of like just priming up at the moment. I like to be very bubbly when I give the welcome address because it's pretty much just expresses how excited I am all the time. to do this at every open day. So thank you very much. Welcome to our wonderful speakers. Welcome to everyone who is on the call today. And thank you for joining the April edition of our virtual Women Techsters Open Day. I am delighted for this open day because guess what? Today falls on the International Day of Girls in ICT. And for us at Tech for Dev, I mean, that is sort of like one of the international days that we're very particular about, just owing to the fact that we do a lot of work around, pushing advocacy for young girls to consider careers in ICT and STEM. So happy International Day of Girls in ICT to everyone. Today is yet another important day, like I said, underscoring the significance of the work we do with Tech Girls Drive, which is a sub-program of the Women Techsters initiative, which is focused on, so the Tech Girls Drive is our sub-program that is focused on, it's sort of like an advocacy drive where we go into schools, public schools, community centers, religious centers to talk to young girls about sort of inspiring them around considering career paths in technology, specifically, but beyond technology in STEM in general. We've done this across 25 countries, actually, over the last 2 years, reaching over 122,000 young girls across various public schools, public schools, community centers, religious centers, across 74 cities. So we're super excited, super pumped. And another interesting news is that in a couple of hours, we will be unveiling our advocacy handbook written by Tech for Dev. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm excited. It's called the Tech Girl Squad. And we created this advocacy handbook because whenever we went to the field, right, to speak to young girls, we would have like a 2-hour touch point with them or a 3-hour touch point with them, and that would be it. And then we got feedback like, oh, I'm interested in tech, I'm interested in STEM. I don't know how to tell my parents about it. I don't know how to tell my teacher about it. I don't know how to tell my guardian about it. So we decided that we were going to create an handbook that could support young girls to be able to do two things, basically, learn more about careers in STEM and also how to engage their guardians about their interest in STEM, just sort of supporting them through that process of being able to, we know we will not be there all the time to be able to have those conversations with their parents, with their teachers, with their guardians, but we wanted to empower them with the knowledge to be able to do that themselves by being able to speak to, their guardians. We will be having a proper launch of the book in a few weeks, and we hope that when we send you an invite, you are able to join us then. So today, again, I'm elated to welcome all the wonderful women who are on this call today from across Africa as you're joining us to pursue your interest in technology. I will welcome you as prospective women techsters. I know that Aura has probably spoken a whole lot about, what the Women Techsters program is about. And we just like to welcome you because I believe that you're all prospective women techsters who are joining us today because you want to learn about starting a career in technology through our Open Day program. But, well, I know I've given some updates already, but in my usual style, I will quickly run through maybe some recent highlights of like our Women Techsters program and Tech for Dev in general. So in January 2024, Tech for Dev launched our second edition of Africa's largest digital skilling challenge called the Digital for All Challenge. This competition is designed to reward self-development and encourage the acquisition and use of digital skills through competitive incentives. Our target is to reach 1 million Nigerians with an opportunity for them to compete to win a share of a total prize of 150 million naira and other consolation prizes. I'm sure I can hear some excitement. Probably, I can't see the chat, but I hope that there's some excitement in the chat. The learning phase started on February 6th, and it is open. The challenge is open to secondary school students, open to youth, open to civil servants, but unfortunately only in Nigeria for now. You can follow us on social media for the Nigerians in the house to, get some consistent updates about the program, how you can join, how you can participate, how you can share information with your friends and family who might be interested in competing towards the grand prizes across the different categories. Also, earlier this month, we graduated 1,113 beneficiaries from our Women Techsters Bootcamp Course 3.3. And these women, I trust and believe that they are women who are going to be trailing like blazes, like literally like training like as women in tech rather. right? And after successfully completing 3 weeks of intense training, demo day presentations, and project work, they are now Women Techsters Booster alumni. So this amazing opportunity has been further expanded, or was further extended to women in the Women Techsters Bootcamp course 3.4. And for course 3.4, we received 4,975 applications from women across 22 African countries. After a rigorous screening process, like we always do, we ended up with 1,919 beneficiaries who were admitted into the Women Techsters Bootcamp Corp 3.4. And we welcomed them at the orientation ceremony that held earlier today. They would then proceed to the next phase, which is receiving training in cybersecurity, in data analysis, in product design, in product management, and software development for the next 3 weeks, starting from next week, Monday, which is the 29th of April, 2024. And just to give some context as well as regards our fellowship program that I think I caught a glimpse of already talking about it earlier, right? Since the inception of the Women Techsters Fellowship, we have recorded like numerous success stories of women who are, these women, their mothers, their daughters, their wives, their students, their workers. They've defied all odds and paved the way for themselves in this ever-evolving technology space. And as such, last year, April, we opened the call for applications for the Women Techsters Fellowship Class of 2024. And we recorded a reach of over 122,000 women across Africa. And after carefully reviewing 7,846 valid applications, we successfully admitted 2,014 women into the fellowship program. And furthermore, for this programmatic year, which is the programmatic year of 2023-2024, we launched into 7 new African countries, in addition to the 15 previous countries of operation, making a total of 22 countries. And these countries are Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Egypt, DR Congo, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Madagascar, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Algeria, South Sudan, Morocco, Angola, Mozambique, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Rwanda, Gambia, and Botswana. Throughout March, the fellows have, and this is what I mean March is March of like last month, right? The fellows were actively engaged in the community advocacy projects, joining us on our Tech Girls Drive, commemorating the International Women's Day on the 8th of March, and also Women's Month. They visited secondary schools, religious and community centers, orphanages across 25 countries to speak to young girls about starting careers in STEM. And they are currently working on their capstone projects, with some of them already landing jobs. One of the things I'm very excited about, and I hope that maybe sometime soon when we're doing like maybe perhaps their graduation, we will be able to invite maybe a couple of you on this call to join and listen to their testimonials. So to get into the meat of the day and not take too much of time, right? Women Techsters, all the wonderful things I've said about Women Techsters, right? Our sub-programs is made possible through our organization, Tech for Dev. Tech for Dev is a non-profit organization that creates access to decent work and entrepreneurship opportunities and platforms for Africans. And we do this through digital and technology skills empowerment and advocacy. Our vision is to equip Africans with digital and life skills that foster economic prosperity, financial freedom, and sustainable development. Women Techsters is an initiative of Tech for Dev, like I said, and it aims to bridge the digital divide between men and women in the technology ecosystem. Through our pilot program, Nigerian Women Techsters, we enabled almost 3,000 women between the ages of 16 to 40 across Nigeria over a 3-year period. And we did this to ignite their interest in pursuing careers and businesses in technology. Driven by the success story of numerous women from the Nigerian Women Techsters program, women like Fatima, like Tomi, like Patience, and amongst others, we carved a new ambition and a dream to replicate this model across Africa, providing more women access to opportunities to launch careers and businesses in technology. Our grand dream by 2030 is that we want to reach 5 million women across Africa by providing them the knowledge and skills to partake in the technology industry in Africa and the world at large. We believe that empowering change for women across Africa, and as well as providing them opportunities to access employment and entrepreneurship, will help to achieve a 50-50 male to female ratio balance in the technology space. The Women Techsters Open Day, which is the reason why we're here today, is our monthly virtual program that is organized for women across Africa to learn about leveraging the power of technology to start and advance their careers and create technology and technology-enabled businesses. The Open Day is an opportunity for women to interact with other successful women who you can already see on the call, who have built their careers or businesses in technology over the years, and who will share with you their personal experiences. They will speak about possible career paths and business opportunities, and they will help you appreciate the importance of acquiring digital and deep tech skills in this digital age. I definitely will not end this without appreciating every single person who is here today to commence your journey to becoming women in tech. And I would like to say a very special thank you to our guest speakers. I'd like to say thank you to Dina. I'd like to say thank you to Yvonne. I'd like to say thank you to Mercy and to our wonderful moderator, Teko, for taking time out of your very busy schedules, because trust me, these women are extremely busy. And they've taken time out today to share stories of their journeys as women in tech. I'm super excited and looking forward to a wonderful conversation. I will be in the background and listening to this conversation and learnings as well. So thank you very much. Until I see you when you probably join the bootcamp or any of our other programs, I would say thanks for listening, and over to you, Ore.
Thank you so very much, Dora. I can see just on the chat how people were elated. I can see someone saying thank you to Tech for their 500 million. Wow. All right. I can see someone also saying, I'm so happy to be part of this right now. Thank you, Tech, for them for this opportunity. Thank you so much. And once again, happy International Day of Girls in ICT. So quickly, I would like to just play a video that highlights some of the things that Dora shared with us. I will be sharing my screen right now, just so you can see. Please just give me a moment while I get that done. Okay. All right, you should be able to see my screen right about now.
I'm from Ilorin, Kwara State. I studied chemistry from the University of Ilorin, but now I'm a woman in tech. Getting a job in Nigeria is very difficult. After my National Youth Service program, I was at home for like 5 to 6 months, writing CVs, applying for jobs, and the highest I got was callbacks, which was very frustrating. I was talking to a friend about the difficulties of getting a job in Nigeria, and he was telling me about the opportunities in tech. Coincidentally, at that time, another friend of mine was telling me about how she went to the Nigerian Women Techsters program, where she learned how to code and build websites. Seeing what she could do, I was motivated to apply for the Nigerian Women Techsters program. The training was for 12 weeks. I learned technical skills, building websites, writing codes. I also learned soft skills, communicating effectively, working in teams. It made me more effective in what I do today. Coming for the training, I just felt that, okay, I'll just learn some new skills, then have to go back home to apply for other jobs. But during the training, I started getting a lot of job opportunities, and here I am today. I have a good job, and I am glad I took the bold step to come for the Nigerian Women Techsters training. I currently work as a technical support engineer at Tech Experts, where I provide cloud-based solutions. I want to use this opportunity to encourage other young women out there who are looking for jobs to empower themselves with tech skills and take advantage of opportunities like this.
With partners like Microsoft, we've been able to train over 2,475 women in coding and deep tech skills across 12 states in Nigeria. And all this training was done for free. Over the next 10 years, we will train 5 million women across Africa by 2030. And we're looking for partners who could join us on this journey.
Okay, awesome. I can see someone saying amazing. I hope we're able to both see and hear the video. I would just like to see comments from the webinar chat. Okay, I can see Moyi saying amazing, I'm blown away, wonderful video. Okay, awesome, good. Now to the meat of the meeting. We have all of our speakers ready on the call, and I will just be introducing them to you. I will be reading out their bios, and then we can get to meet all of our wonderful speakers who are already here on the call. Yes, so I would start by introducing Mercy to us, Mercy Mutindi. So Mercy is a senior mobile app developer with robust experience in Android, iOS, and Flutter. With over 7 years of experience, she specializes in developing secure and sociable apps for the fintech industry and e-commerce platforms. Mercy's primary focus is on using cutting-edge technology to create solid cross-platform solutions that improve user experience and promote corporate success. Hi, Mercy. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? How are you doing?
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. I am looking forward to learning so much from this session and getting to share my insights and my tech journey.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you so very much. Okay, so I will be reading out the bio of our next speaker, Dina. Dina Salam is a seasoned tech leader with over 15 years of experience in the tech and telecom industry. As the head of data and AI at Orange Egypt, she spearheads initiatives to revolutionize data management systems. With an MBA from ESL SCA Business School, Green Belt certification from the American Society of Quality, and having recently completed the Applied Data Science program from MIT BE, Dina combines academic knowledge with practical experience. Her passion lies in leveraging modern data platforms to unlock new revenue streams and drive growth. Dina is a firm advocate for data monetization strategies, emphasizing the importance of extracting actionable insights from data to enhance revenue generation. In addition to her expertise in data management, Dina has a deep understanding of AI technologies, and she leads initiatives to implement cutting-edge solutions that leverage machine learning and predictive analytics to optimize process and deliver personalized customer experiences. With a background in network quality of service and customer experience management, she brings a unique perspective to her role, harnessing data insights to optimize operational efficiency and elevate customer satisfaction. Hi, Dina. How are you? Nice to meet you. Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to be joining you today, wonderful ladies. I can see ladies from across the continent. I'm really thrilled to be here and to share my experience with you. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dina. And now to our third speaker, Yvonne. Yvonne Kagondu is a blockchain business consultant who utilizes her knowledge and expertise in blockchain and cryptocurrencies to promote adoption through education and community growth strategies. Yvonne holds a Bachelor of Business Science degree in Financial Economics from Strathmore University and a Software Development Certificate from Moringa School. Both she earned in 2018. With several years of experience in the Kenyan financial industry and the blockchain ecosystem, Yvonne brings a unique perspective to the table. She started her career as an intern at the Kenyan Commercial Bank Group and then joined Google Digital Skills for Africa as a quality assurance team member. During this time, Yvonne developed a keen interest in the cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. This sparked her consultancy career, where she has worked with several leading blockchain companies, including Eternity, Kubitics, Bitcoin Key, ZP, eWallet, Paxful, Token Mind, and Forcefield Digital. In addition to her consulting work, Yvonne is the founder of Kenya Blockchain Ladies DAO and a co-founder at Kushite East Africa ICP Hub. With her extensive background in finance and cryptocurrencies, she is a sought-after speaker and thought leader in the industry. Hi, Yvonne. Good evening. Glad to have you join us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. And finally, to our wonderful moderator, Teko. Teko Intime, pardon me, affectionately known as Teko, takes a holistic approach to her life. The blend of her studies in statistics and economics and her interest in programming led her to a fulfilling career in data science and analytics. With a knack for unveiling opportunities and optimizing processes, she enjoys using complex machine learning and advanced analytics concepts to solve business problems and communicating the insights in a straightforward yet actionable manner aligned with the company's objectives. Teko's personal journey made her aware of the need for a greater inclusivity in the tech industry, as well as access to its information and resources, specifically for women and girls. This motivated her to volunteer for the Women in Tech South Africa as a program manager. Through her and her team's combined efforts, the Women in Tech Global Mentorship Program was launched, outreach programs were implemented, and networking and confidence builder events hosted, amongst many more. Beyond her work already mentioned, Teko founded Endometriosis to raise awareness about menstrual illnesses. She also pioneered the Salam data and digital workplace experience, providing practical work and networking opportunities for university students. Passionate about mentorship, Teko serves as a mentor and mentee while also indulging her creativity through fashion designing and modeling in her spare time. Wonderful. Hi, Teko. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm really excited to get some information from the panelists and engage with everyone on the call. Thank you.
Awesome, way as well. So I would hand the baton over to Teko now, who would handle the moderated fireside chat. So over to you, Teko.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the warm introductions of myself and everyone on the panel. It is so good to see everyone here and to meet all of you ladies as well that have joined the call today. And yeah, I think that today we're going to have a very interesting session where we're going to ask the panelists a few questions around their careers and how they got into tech. And hopefully that will inspire some of our people that are watching the call to also join tech and get those juices flowing. So I think one of the first things that I would like to know from you specifically, Mercy, is if you can remember your first interactions with a computer, and how was that like? And how did that inspire your decision to build a career in STEM, specifically within engineering?
Thank you so much. So for me, I first interacted with a computer when I joined high school. The first year in high school, computer lessons were mandatory, and I found myself learning computer basics when I was around 13 years. It was not mandatory after the first year to continue with the computer lesson. So I immediately dropped it. It did not fascinate me at the time or interest me, so I dropped it. And looking back now, it is actually funny because I enjoy so much what I do. And if I went back, I would probably do the computer lesson all throughout high school. The second part of the question is what inspired my decision to join STEM. So as I said, I was not very much interested in STEM when I was in high school. So I was just going by, just so that I made my parents proud throughout the high school period. So I studied, worked hard to get good grades, but that was it, which makes me commend Tech for Dev today for this platform. Having a platform like this where young women and people who are starting their careers can get to talk to industry experts about the things they get to do on a daily is very helpful in helping shape and inform decisions when you're making a career choice, which I lacked at the time. But I'm very grateful that I still got to choose with the help of my parents. I still got to choose and enroll in a Bachelor of Computer Science, a Bachelor of Science, Computer Science. And the very first hard reality about gender imbalance hit me when I first went to school, first went to a class, and in a class of 100 students, there were only 14 girls. And the ideas and just the learning about the high dropout rates among women in computer science was very shocking, well, overwhelming for someone who's new, who's not even sure where they are actually doing computer science. They've not seen another woman in tech or gotten such inspirations from people. So when the coursework began to get intensified, because it gets intense, the thoughts of dropping and switching careers to something else like economics and statistics at the time, I wanted to do economics and statistics because there were more girls in that class. I had friends there. They seemed to be having an easier life than I was because we had like long hours in classes. There were few women in the same classes. So I found myself grappling with the idea of actually switching. But after talking to my mother, she was like, no, you're going to complete it. Just persevere and go through with it. And that is what I did. But that was not an enough motivation for me to thrive in tech. So the first year was about surviving for me. So I survived through the first year. But shortly something happened after first year, and it was 4 of the girls in the class got disqualified for failing. And that was the biggest turning point for me in school. When it came to tech, I did not want to get disqualified. The narrative was starting to make sense, and I could actually see girls giving up. So I did not want to be part of that number where I would be disqualified. So I started putting in more effort. I started attending, doing more than just surviving and going to school, doing bare minimum. I started going to school, putting in more effort, reaching out to peers to understand concepts that were hard. And then it moved from me surviving to actually starting to grasp this concept. And then it moved from understanding the basics to, okay, I think I like this. I might be interested. And I was doing more than just the coursework. I found myself going for tech events that were happening in the university. And that is where you get to meet other women in tech who are professionals, who talk to you about their day-to-day, what they do. And then just seeing that representation started to resonate with me. I now started having a reason to want to learn and get better. And basically, that is how I found myself in tech, specifically as a mobile engineer.
That's amazing, Mercy. And I really admire your resilience of saying, even though those around you and probably those that look like you who are women are dropping out, you are going to continue and push through. So I really admire that. But you mentioned something very interesting where you said, when you were going through your studies, it hit you that you had not seen other women in tech or other women doing computer sciences. I think you mentioned that there were 14 women in a class of 100. And that brings me to you, Dina. You interestingly have a bachelor's degree in engineering from Cairo University, among other qualifications, that were listed. And I would like to know what, inspired your decision to study a STEM degree in university, but also, did you have a female role model or a mentor in tech that was helpful during those early stages?
Okay, so actually my decision to pursue a bachelor's degree in engineering, it was influenced by a combination of factors. I was always fascinated by technology since I was a kid. I always thought about how much it can transform the way people live and interact, how it can make people's lives easier and even more fun. I remember when I started playing games on my very basic DOS PC back then and how it fascinated me. I was always drawn to problem solving and innovation. Also, my dad was a mechanical engineer. He taught me that STEM is not only about the technical knowledge you get in a certain field of engineering, for example, or science. It's a complete way of thinking. Most of us don't use whatever we studied at the university in the practical fields when you go to work, but you take with you the analytical thinking, the critical thinking, the problem solving, and you can see engineers and STEM people thriving in different sectors, even in finance, in marketing. Also, we can see STEM and people with a technical background thriving because of the way their minds were shaped by their study. So I think STEM fields provided me the perfect avenue to channel my interests into real world impact. That's why I chose this this field. For the second part of the question, actually, I didn't have a specific female role model or mentor in tech during my early years. But like Mercy, I was not aware of the how little the contribution of women is in tech. I was completely oblivious to that when I started my studies, but I faced the same problems having very, very little contribution even in university. Coming back, I didn't have a specific role model. I was just inspired by the collective achievement of pioneering women in the field. Their stories of resilience and determination fueled my passion, and it motivated me to pursue my dreams further. Along the way, I've been fortunate to find some mentors in the same company I worked in, supportive peers from both genders, actually, not only women, but I did find women who supported me and who guided me through the ups and downs of my career, reaffirming my belief that I can continue. The communities I joined and the collaborations, the women there empowered me a lot. So not only just one role model, but many, honestly.
That's amazing, Tina, and thanks for sharing that. And I completely agree with you when you say, you know, essentially what you learn within these courses is a way of thinking, problem solving, knowing how to take a business problem and breaking it down into something that can be answered and actionable. And I completely resonate with that as well. But I also think that, at least for myself, I know that growing up, and I also relate to that I didn't really have female mentors or female role models within the tech space that I looked up to, and I wasn't even aware that, you know, there is a lack of female you know, representation within the tech space when I was still going through what I'm interested in. And that said, I want to know from you, Yvonne, growing up as a young girl in Kenya, what made you, or what inspired you to join your career in blockchain? I can imagine that already tech, probably for all of us in this call, when we were making the decision to join STEM, was something that was sort of maybe a blurry idea, or not really spoken about that much, but I can even imagine more so for blockchain as well. So I'm very curious about what inspired you to join that career or that industry in blockchain. Yeah, amongst all the other industries or careers that they are within tech.
Okay, thank you for the question, and happy International Day of Girls in Tech. You have said it correct. Well, for me, as a young girl, I knew I wanted to be in tech. Like I used to even say, like, even if I'm going to be sitting on a laptop as a secretary, I'm comfortable as long as I'm in front of a computer. So I knew that all through my childhood. I knew that tech is something that I wanted to pursue. And because it came, first of all, I enjoyed doing it and it came easy for me. It's the subjects in school where I enjoyed, and I was grasping very fast. I enjoyed teaching my friends, but then I also pursued it in high school. But then the challenge came with coding. Like when I did my first course in coding, I couldn't get it at all. It felt like I don't know. We talk about the high dropout rate of women in tech, and most of it is usually put as reasons for, oh, we are not supported enough, or we're not this and that. But for me, I was just simple and clear. I find it very difficult, and I think many women find it very difficult, but probably I'm lying or I'm being biased. But I really struggled with coding. So when I did my high school education, and I finished with the last course was coding. I couldn't get it at all. So I switched to mathematics and went into finance. And I did my bachelor's in financial economics. And that's basically where you learn about stocks, you learn about central banks, you learn about the money markets, you learn about everything that it happens in money and the ecosystem of money. But I still had a passion for tech. So right after uni, I went into a software development bootcamp. And 2 months in, I dropped out. I couldn't do it at all. But then by combining the 2 months that I learned about coding and the 4 years of education in financial economics, learning about central banks, learning about stocks, there was a connection. When you hear about blockchain, it mostly talks about traditional financial systems, what's wrong with it, and how do we fix it. We talk about why centralized systems in finance are not serving economies, why they're faulted when you talk about how loans are being given out by governments, how inflation works. Realize that it doesn't really favor the people. So when I combined financial economics and a bit of software development, it automatically birthed blockchain technology. Unfortunately, at that time, there was a budding community in blockchain in Kenya. It didn't have many women. It had like 1 or 2 women, but it was exciting to learn about. It was exciting to hear people talk about Bitcoin and all the controversies about it. And I said, yes, this is where I belong. So I've been in the field since then. I never say I'm a developer. I do project management. I do community management consultation, but I still consider myself a woman in tech. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm sure as you were, describing how you got into the industry, the blockchain industry, there were many people that were very curious and interested. So I hope that does generate more interest within the blockchain space. And I think all the responses that we've gotten thus far are very important, because I think what all of your responses highlights is that there's no one way to get into tech. I think that sometimes, especially as women, we can feel a bit intimidated or overwhelmed or even unsure that maybe I didn't start off with an interest in tech, or I didn't study a STEM related degree, or the first job I had wasn't one in tech. But as our panelists have mentioned right now, it's not always about how you start, but really just what your intention behind it is, regardless of whether you had the interest growing up or the interest came about at some point. But I'm sure with that said, a lot of people on the call are like, okay, but what am I actually supposed to know for each of these degrees or each of these industries that I want to learn? I saw some in the chat saying they want to learn about product design or data analysis, which is a space that I'm in as a data scientist. So my question is to you, Dina, for a beginner in data science, what important technical skills should they have?
Okay, so to start with, of course, for a beginner in data science, basically they should learn at least one programming language that's commonly used in data science, such as Python or R. Python is particularly popular due to its versatility and extensive libraries like NumPy and Pandas. Additionally, proficiency in data manipulation, visualization tools, learning SQL, of course. There's a lot of off-the-shelf dashboarding tools like Power BI and so on, and it's all dependent on SQL, and some open source data analytics tools like Metabase. So SQL is also very important to work with large data sets. Other than the programming languages, it's very important to have some knowledge of statistics and mathematics, because understanding statistical concepts and mathematical principles is fundamental for data analysis. Topics like probability, hypothesis testing, and linear algebra It's very commonly used in data science. And it provides the foundation for understanding key concepts in data science, honestly. You have to familiarize yourself with the libraries, the important libraries like pandas and pre-processing tools for EDA. Another very important thing that I usually highlight is the domain knowledge, because what we have is usually people who are very proficient in manipulating the data, but they don't know what the data is. And people who are very aware of what the data is, but they don't know how to manipulate it or how to manage this big amount of data. So educating yourself about the data you're working with is very important. It can also help you know which crowdsourcing data you can use to improve your data analysis or your machine learning model. It's very, very important. It's also important to educate yourself about the big data space in general. It all, of course, it depends on the career goals, but it's very important to know technologies like Hadoop, Spark, the NoSQL databases, how to handle large amounts of data. Data analysis is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of layers before that, before you reach the machine learning phase or the data analysis phase. Of course, for the machine learning, it's very important to have adequate data analysis before that. But it's also important to know how to manage the database, the data engineering part of things, the data modeling part of things. Data analysis is just the tip of the iceberg. So yeah, I think that's basically my 2 cents on how to start in data science.
Thank you for that, Dina. And yeah, we lost you for a second right at the very end of your last sentence, but we did get everything that you said there. And I completely agree. As a data scientist, we use all those tools and all of the knowledge, all the different concepts that you've mentioned right now. And I think another important thing about the job as well as a data scientist is that we tend to engage with a lot of other people or other people that have different roles within the business, like engineers, like developers, like business users or principals of teams. And some of those people could even be mobile app developers because the data that we use can feed into the work that they're doing. So I want to know from you, Mercy, can you walk us through a day in the life of a mobile app developer, and also what technical skills you tend to use within the day as well, Mercy?
Sure thing. So first thing, there's no similar day. Each day in a life of a mobile engineer can present its unique challenges and opportunities. So for example, today I was doing interviews, but I will not do the same tomorrow. But a typical day starts by just going over the previous day's tasks. Every day you have deliverables, you have tasks, and sometimes they don't have to like come to a completion. So what that means is you have to plan your morning. So I start by planning my morning, going through the previous day's pending tasks, and then checking my calendar and planning around my day and how I'm going to achieve that. And then as a team, we usually have morning check-ins. We call them daily stand-up. This is where we get to catch up with everyone in the team, talk about what you worked on yesterday, what you're planning to work on today. In case you faced a hurdle or a blocker, you get to communicate this. The daily stand-up is usually comprises of the project manager, the team lead, QAs, and the engineers. I am a mobile engineer, but we also have backend engineers in the team. So we get to talk about the sprint goals, what we are currently working on, where you are, the progress you've made. And in case you have any issue, you communicate earlier on so that you can get help as quickly as possible. And then major part of my day will be spent coding and actually writing solutions to the problems that I'm currently solving. So it could be writing new code, it could be debugging a bug that is on production or on the test environment, or it could be refining and refactoring the existing code base to be better. Sometimes we have collaboration meetings where we get to talk to product managers and product designs, depending on where the project level is. So we get to talk to project managers about the business requirements, what it is we want to build. We talk to app designers who take us through mock-up designs of their visions on what they want the screens or the apps to look like. And then finally, you will be testing your app, doing code reviews. As you gain experience as a mobile engineer, you come from being a junior engineer where your major focus is just coding and pushing out fixes, and then you become a mid-level or a senior engineer, and now you're mentoring other junior engineers within the team. So you find yourself in working sessions with your juniors and people who just joined the team, just taking through them, helping them achieve their tasks, helping them understand parts of the code base that might be complex to understand, and then wrap up your day and look forward to the next day. So the second part of the question was, what are some of the technical skills I feel or believe a mobile engineer should have? And like Dina said, you need to have a programming language. Like you need to learn first. A mobile application development is very broad, so you have to choose one platform that you want to learn. So if you want to learn Android, iOS, Flutter, there are so many platforms to choose from. So if you want to learn, say, for example, Android, you will need to learn the Android programming language. The common one is Kotlin. If you want to learn iOS, you can learn Swift. So just research on what platform it is you want to learn, and then research on the biggest programming language. So for example, for Android, it's Kotlin. Get a fundamental understanding of Kotlin and work on like a real project to try and solve as many problems as you can think of. And then the next thing is familiarize with yourself with the environment to write the code for those platforms. So for example, for Kotlin, for Android, you can familiarize yourself with Visual Studio or Android Studio. Just learn how to use the tools to like write the code. And then in terms of soft skills, which are very important, problem solving skills is important. You need to be able to talk to a product manager about a problem, about a bug on production, and be able to analytically think through the problem. So the first thing is just like going through, trying to understand the problem, trying to understand your users, what it is you want to build, and then practice that. It's like a muscle. So you start with small tasks, and then you monitor your solutions out there as they're being used by real-time users. You get feedback, you improve on that, and with time, you get better at it. Also, attention to details is important as a mobile engineer because, for example, you get to work with so many different people in the team. You will work with a mobile app designer who comes up with mock-up designs, and that's their vision of how they want the app to look like and how they want the users to experience the app. So transitioning vision for the product designer into the actual screens and the app is you will need attention to details. Those colors, those animations, just how the app looks like will mean that you will need to like be keen on how the designs were created. also being keen on how you write code, also being keen on like user stories and business requirements that are communicated to you by the product manager. The last thing that I can think of is adaptability. So the mobile world and generally just the tech world is so quick, like things just rapidly evolve. You wake up and there's a new tool, you wake up and there's a new way, a cooler way of doing things than you learned yesterday. So just being willing to learn as much as possible and catch up with the rapidly evolving space will ensure that you thrive in this space.
Thank you so much for that, Mercy. And I'm not sure if it was just on my side, but I cannot see your video anymore. So I'm just pointing that out in case it was just me or if anyone else can't see her. But thank you so much for your answer there. And I just want to reiterate what was put in the chat. Can everyone please put their questions in the Q&A section, so that when we are done with getting all these wonderful answers from all the panelists, we can go through all the questions that you have for us in the Q&A section. So yeah, I'm gonna come to you, Yvonne, now. For a beginner in the blockchain space, what important technical skills should someone have? And also, just to follow up to that question as well, I think a lot was mentioned about the types of tools or the types of skills that people in the data science or the mobile app development space should have. Where can one find this information, or where can one find the resources to actually learn that? If you can answer that for us, Yvonne, please.
Well, for blockchain, I know with other fields, like basic fields that have developed, like I don't think data science is like this or mobile development, but most of the time you just need to learn a technical skill, and it's easy to get a job, especially in tech. But in blockchain, things are a bit different because blockchain is very capitalist. It's very driven by money because it has a lot to do with cryptocurrencies. It has a lot to do with investors. It has a lot to do with it's really run by money. So normally when I joined the space back in 2018, we were very few women. And that was understandable. When you look at the tech space, it's male dominated. When you look at the finance space, it's also male dominated. And so definitely when you combine blockchain, it's going to be male dominated. But what I did, I started with being a community manager. That's just basically customer support through community channels, because communities are very important in tech. And then grew into a founder over the past couple of years. So with my community, I built a community to encourage women in blockchain, to encourage Kenyan women in blockchain, called the Kenya Blockchain Ladies Down. I always tell them, the skills you need to be in blockchain is not, you don't need to do a certificate to be in blockchain. Yes, it's good, but what you need to do is have like basic read and learn skills, know how to use the internet, and then have that attitude of learning, unlearning, and relearning. Because for me, I started as just simply answering questions, reading about blockchain. And back then it was so simple. But then when you look at how the ecosystem has evolved over the past 5 years, I can no longer even be community manager because the information has really grown. The industry has changed so much. Now we're talking about blockchain and AI. We're talking about so many things. So maybe I'm not really a developer, but I can't really talk about the technical skills. Yes, I know the languages are Rust, JavaScript. I hear a lot of this and that. But for women, I normally encourage them to be simple, not limit themselves to just be developers. If you want to be a woman in blockchain, there's so much you can do. I've seen a lot of women coming from marketing, and I tell them, if you're looking at, because in Africa, we all know the challenge of finding a job. So if you're looking at marketing, you can bring marketing value into blockchain. If you're a lawyer, there's a lot of legal value you can bring into blockchain. you can literally, as long as you have the interest, you have the drive, you have the spirit to read, like you have to constantly update your knowledge, there's always a space because it's such a young field. The first blockchain was developed in 2008. It's barely 2 decades old, if I'm not wrong. So we are growing together. Even me, as an expert, I can't really say I have all the information. It's impossible. So if anyone can come from any field and come into the blockchain ecosystem. So yeah, so the main skill I believe in blockchain is the interest, basic internet, um, and the spirit of learning, unlearning, and relearning. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important. Thanks for that. I really love that you highlighted, the spirit of learning, unlearning, and relearning, because the tech industry moves very quickly. Things change all the time, and we need to learn to change with it. So everything that we learn today, not that it will no longer be applicable, but we need to learn how to use what we know today to further our learnings tomorrow. And that's a very interesting point, because I think a lot of the times, to join a tech career or tech role, we need to have the relevant tech skills, but we also need to have the soft skills as well. In the video that was played earlier, the lady mentioned that she also learns effective communication, presentation skills, how to work in teams and collaborate. But I think that sometimes as women, these soft skills tend to be valued slightly differently than they might be for male counterparts within the same roles that we are in. So that brings me to a question that I would like to ask to you, Dina. I would like to know, have you ever faced any form of discrimination as a woman in leadership, and specifically within a male-dominated field? And if you have, how did you handle it and how did you overcome it?
Well, yes, I most definitely did, unfortunately. Some might be luckier and do not face such situations, but I did. Actually, I was focused to be very professional about it and not to get emotional. Most important thing is to let the work speak for you. Do not involve into discussions and arguments. Just let the work do the talk. And you will find people who support you. Again, as I mentioned before, from both genders. Yes, there is discrimination and bias, but you will also find the contrary. You will find people who find your work valuable and your input valuable. So don't let this intimidate you. I was very professional about those situations. I did not let myself get dragged and let this distract me from my work. I was very resilient about it, and I was always thinking that this will pave the way for other women. And I always thought about the women in my team, and how this will empower them and give them a role model to look up to, which was something I lacked a bit during my early days. So yeah, that's my advice. Just be professional, be resilient.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. And I think it's just testament to the fact that these things do happen. It is normal for there to be, sometimes tense situations within the office space. But sometimes it can almost feel like a microaggression towards women, especially when you are in a leadership position. But I think, as you've mentioned, there are learnings that come with that. And as every day that goes by, there are more women that are taking up space in these roles. So it makes it that a little bit more easier. Thank you for sharing that with us, Dina. I'd like to know from you, Yvonne, actually, as a founder and even a co-founder, I'm pretty sure that it's not easy at all, let alone being a woman within this new industry that has come up. I'd like to know from you, are there any challenges that you face being a woman, being a co-founder within this space, and how you face those challenges in your journey so far? Yvonne, are you there? Okay, I think that we will come back to Yvonne. There might be some technical issues that she's facing, but I will pose the same question to you, actually, Mercy, because the truth of the reality is we all have challenges, right, that we face within our career. So can you maybe tell us about some of the challenges or a challenge that you have faced and how you've overcome it, but maybe also highlight what has been the best part of your job as well?
Okay, so I will speak about two things, especially so the biggest challenge, one of the, not the biggest, but one of the biggest challenge I've faced, especially when I was beginning my career, was imposter syndrome, where you find yourself in rooms and you're thinking, how am I even here? You find yourself thinking maybe I'm not qualified, and it never ends because you shift careers or you change from one job to another and it kicks in again. So how I combat that is, first, I've made I've made connections and I've had like a network of peers who do the same thing. So I actively seek feedback and criticism from people who will give me objective feedback. So when I'm like doubting myself, I will reach out to a peer or someone within the team, a manager, and just ask for feedback to gauge my skills. This helps me like get a clear understanding of the actual areas that I need to improve, and also understand that sometimes it was just the self-doubt. Another way I go through imposter syndrome when I get it is every time I tick something off my to-do list. Say I wanted to learn this new course, I want to learn a back-end skill or something new, I will celebrate, because it is those small wins that will reinforce your achievement and boost your confidence. So continuous learning, improving yourself, improving your skill set will help boost your confidence. And as you boost your confidence, as you learn, as you have like actual products out there that users are using, you're getting feedback, you start to have real tangible reminders that you're actually competent, you're skilled. And every time you get yourself going back to that that feeling of imposter syndrome, you'll be like, I've felt this before and I still achieved, so I'm going to go through this and achieve. And then the second challenge I've gone through or went through, especially when I was beginning my career in STEM, was making a decision on what to like focus on. There are so many fields. The tech industry is very diverse. There's data science, there's web development, mobile development, backend, full stack. There's a lot of things to choose from. And when you are not exactly sure what you want to choose, it can be like overwhelming. So even when you decide you want to first start with mobile app development learning, you get into the mobile world and you realize there are so many more options. You'll have like iOS, Android, cross-platform frameworks like Flutter, Maui. There's a lot to choose from. So choosing from like a specific thing and learning to become an expert at that thing can be overwhelming at times, and it was overwhelming for me. But how I beat that challenge was I first focused on one thing, which was Android. When I was starting, I focused on learning the fundamentals, learning the software engineering fundamentals to the Android fundamentals. And then I started working on actual products, real products. It's one thing to read a documentation or read a code base or listen to a YouTube tutorial, and it's another thing to actually write code and gauge your understanding. So writing real code using what you've learned will help you boost your knowledge and understanding and your skill set. So that is how I tackled like the so many options to choose from picking one thing, committing to it, and then you find it is easier to move on to the next thing. So once you master Android, you can move on to iOS, and the basics will always be the same. So moving on to the next thing becomes easier.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. And thank you for sharing that. And I know we've been getting a lot of questions actually within the Q&A, and I think that our panelists are very excited to get into them. But I think from what they've shared so far, it's, we could go on for long. Mercy just highlighted imposter syndrome, which is something that I think everyone faces, and it's normal to face it. It's just knowing how to deal with it when you realize that it comes. And Dina has also spoken about her interest in tech. She spoke about her qualifications that she's had. And she's also spoken a bit about, having female mentors or just mentors in general that she met along her journey. So we could speak for a long time with her about mentorship, which is something that I also feel is very important. And I am very happy that Yvonne is back on the line with us. So I think that what I'm going to do just before we get into our questions, because I'm sure, everyone on the call is very excited to also get all the answers to their questions, is I'll ask a final question to all of our panelists as we wrap up this section of the fireside chat, really just asking, if you had to look back at your younger self, what advice would you give to that younger version of yourself? Because I'm sure that, sometimes when we look at ourselves, we realize things that we didn't realize before, and perhaps to be a bit easier on ourselves or be a bit more intentional with how we research things, or looking for mentors or reaching out to people in the industry. So just very briefly, as we wrap this up, I'll go around the room and just ask, if you were to look back at your younger self or give advice to someone who is in a similar position that you were in before you started, what would you say to that person? I will start with you, Yvonne.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I disconnected. My internet did that thing. But maybe just looking at my younger self, I think growing up, I had a lot of self-doubt and a lot of questions about my path and what exactly is happening. But I think one thing that I learned over the years was to trust myself and to trust God, or what you perceive to be your God. Because, we growing up in school, I didn't understand, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this course? Why is this happening to me? You go through all that confusion. Like maybe you're in school, maybe someone in the audience is in school, maybe they're struggling with something, maybe they're wondering why. But I usually believe, like, as long as you're trying your best and you're giving your best, and you have good intentions, things normally work out. So when I was younger, I used to really doubt. Even going into blockchain, no one was talking about it at that time. It was completely new, and I trusted myself because I liked it. Let me pursue it. Well, no one else barely had a career in this space. So I think as a younger person, I always try to, when I look at my younger self, I always try to comfort myself and say, you are in the right path, just trust yourself, trust in God, trust, as long as you have good intentions, as long as you're doing your best, you're giving your best, things eventually work out. Yeah, so maybe that's my 2 Satoshis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And I will pass the baton on to Mercy. Can you tell us what you would tell younger you in the same position?
Wow, I would tell myself so many things, especially that persist through the doubts. The doubts will always be there, but persist through them. The difference between an expert and a beginner is the amount of effort and consistency they put into that particular subject matter. So just consistently keep learning. Continuous effort will, as Yvonne said, will bear fruit. Trust the process. It gets better with time. And also, I tell myself to continue seeking support, because looking back, I have grown so much just from my peers and my network. So a strong support system is very important, and it can be very significant towards enhancing your learning curve and your emotional resilience when you are almost giving up, because sometimes you end up in situations where you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this no more. And then the last thing would be embrace risks. Even when you in doubt, dare to enroll to do that challenging course, dare to speak up more in meetings, dare to do that thing that you're scared of doing and learn from failures. When you fail, dust yourself and keep going. It gets better with time.
Thanks for that, Mercy. And Dina, I will pass that on to you. What would you tell younger you? But I think just in addition to that, because of, just all the experience that you have, there are a lot of women on the call who would like to begin their career in tech or are a bit unsure, have some doubts or questions. Do you have final words for them as well? Words of encouragement or words of advice? Just what could you share?
Okay, so I think for all the ladies here, if you have the passion, if you have the passion for technology, then that's the only thing you need. You don't need to think about how minority we are in the tech space. Do not put this into focus. Just focus on developing yourself. Focus on your work, on being the right person, rather than focusing on the opportunities. The opportunities will unveil themselves to you as you develop yourself. So this is what you should concern yourself with. I think now is very different than the early days of tech. There is a lot of communities. I think even being here today, even if you heard nothing new, if you got no new information, isn't it empowering to have like almost 120 women supporting each other? Isn't that empowering enough? I mean, just being here all together, it's empowering even for the speakers. So just this is what you should focus on and nothing else. And there will be enough opportunities and room for everyone. I think so.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Dina, and thank you, Mercy, as well as Yvonne, for all of the insight that you shared, the experiences that you've shared, lessons as well. I particularly found this quite interesting, and I'm pretty sure that our audience did too, because I see all the questions flooding in. Yeah, so thank you so much. It was a pleasure moderating this, and I will pass this back to our organizers at Tech for Dev. Thank you. We cannot hear you speaking. I'm not sure if it's just on my side.
No, I can't either.
Hello, please, can you confirm you can hear me now?
Yes.
Ah, great. Awesome. All right. So I would just like to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to Dina. Thank you to Teco. Thank you to Mercy. Thank you to Yvonne. I can already see people on the chat say thank you, thank you. Thank you so very much. I mean, this was such an amazing session. I was able to learn a lot. And I believe that the beneficiaries on the call were also able to learn. So we'll quickly move into the Q&A. Please just pardon me. If you have a question, please, if you have your question, can you put it in the Q&A section and we will quickly get into it. So I will just start. So I will start with some of the questions I can see here. There's a question asking, so I think this question would be to Dina. So hi Dina, there's a question here about how I know that you mentioned earlier on about how going into data science analysis that you should it would be great if you have a math and statistics background. So there's a question here about how that does that mean that for someone who does not have this kind of background that they cannot get into data science, right? So yes, I think I'm trying to see if there's another question I can piggyback that on, or you can just go ahead and quickly give us the answer to that. Over to you, Tina.
Well, I think having some basics of statistics is important in data science, and maybe Teco can confirm that. But it is not, I don't mean that you should have a bachelor's in statistics, but you should have the basics. And right now we have Coursera, DataCamp, a lot of online resources where you can just take a course of basics of statistics in even 2 weeks, and you will be good to go to start in the data science field. It's not that big of a deal, but I think yes, it's important to have basic understanding of statistics and probability theory and all the things I mentioned before. But the resources are available online. You don't need to have a professional degree in statistics to get into data science. And Teco can add to that if she wants.
I think you
Okay,
said that
thank you,
perfectly.
Tina.
I
Hi, Teco.
agree.
Would you like to add something to that?
I was just saying, I think she summed it up perfectly. I would have
Okay.
said it the same way.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so very much. Hi, Messi. So I can see a question here, and I hope that you'll be able to answer it. There is a question, the question about what's the difference between a software developer and a software engineer. Could you quickly answer that for us?
Please come again. I didn't get the first
Okay,
part.
so the question is, what is the difference between a software developer and a software engineer?
Ooh, that is wow. What is the difference? I will just ramble. I am a software engineer and I'm also a developer. So developing is the actual writing of code. Engineering is more holistic, where you think of the problems, designing, but really it's used interchangeably. So when I say I'm a mobile app developer and a mobile app engineer, I mean the same thing, because a mobile app engineer develops mobile applications, but there's more to engineering, which comes in which is just the problem solving aspect of it. You do more than just developing apps. You think through problems, you think of the future and ways to scale and touch things.
Okay, thank you so very much, Messi. And just to quickly stay on you, there are two questions I can see here that I'm thinking of merging into one for you. So there's a question here on how that we have some people on the call who recently got into our bootcamp training program, and they would like to ask. They are currently in the software development learning track. That is, they're going to be learning for the next 2 to 3 weeks about how to begin a career in software development. Do you have any advice for them on what to do next after they've taken the training? And there's a question here about how that would you advise someone to pursue software development? So those are two questions for you. Hi, Messi, did you hear me?
Yes. So yes, if you're passionate, like Dina said, it is all about passion. When you decide you want to do software engineering or software development, whichever you pick to choose, all that you need is to be passionate about it and to go consistently learn and put yourself out there, write sample tasks, write sample solutions, put it out there for your friends, your colleagues, people around you, people you're in the same school with, to test and give you feedback, and you will get better. If you don't like it, you can switch to something else, because tech is very, very broad and there are lots and lots of options.
All right, thank you so very much for that, Mercy, and I hope you were able to get answers to that. Hi Yvonne, I can see a question here for you that says that you mentioned that any skill is applicable in blockchain. So this person says that they're a customer service manager and they are wondering how they can move from that into blockchain. Do you have any advice for them?
Well, normally how blockchain is purely online, it's focused on online communities, and it's actually one of the best times to join the blockchain ecosystem because it's like we call it the bull market where prices go up, up, up. So when there's a surge in crypto prices, there's usually a surge in crypto projects, and there's normally a surge in the roles, skills that are usually needed in this space. So you find that the supplementary roles, most blockchain enthusiasts never go for them. So that's where I advise the ladies that I normally mentor. That's where you start. That's what you go for, because the aim, especially for us Africans, I always say the aim in blockchain is for you to earn in cryptocurrencies and not really buy them. So at this point, I just, how I normally do it is go to online communities. I go to LinkedIn, and I go to Telegram communities. I learn about the protocol, and then I share my skills. I share the services that I offer. One of them being my experience, especially when you have an experience in customer service. It's so easy. I remember there was a time I'd get up to 5 roles. Actually, when I was forming the DAO, I'd get up to 5 roles in community management, and I'd have to source out to Kenyan women. And this is how I've been to the DAO, because I realized the roles are more, the demand for the skills are actually more than the supply. So I think it's a very good time to join the space. Just join online communities, do your research, DYOR, you do your own research. And yeah, that's basically it.
All right, thank you very much. So there was a question I saw. So there's a question I can see here that I would like to throw to tackle. So the person says, as a beginner in data analytics, whenever I come across a data set, I get confused on what to do first. And also most times I feel overwhelmed, like data analytics is not for me. What can I do first as a beginner in data analytics? Hi, Techo. Over to you.
Sure, and that's I think is a very important question within the industry that I think a lot of people tend to overlook. Honestly, the advice that I'd give is start with the business stakeholders, because your data is only as good as the people that created the data or wherever the data came from. And you can create graphs, you could do all these wonderful things with the data, but if you do not know what your data is doing or what question you're trying to answer with the data, then you could be, using your time in an inefficient way. So I would actually encourage you, when you do get a data set, especially if you're not familiar with it, don't really know what it's about, ask the data engineers, how did the data get there? Speak to the different business users who know the business processes and different business rules on how things work, and that will inform how you engage with the data, because now you start understanding what the different columns mean, and start analyzing the columns or just the rows of the data set as a whole to try and answer the question. But it's really when you understand what the business use case is that you can then start really going into the data and unpacking it, trying to find different ways. And if your question was also more from a technical point of view, I think obviously that will depend on the tool stack that they use at the company that you work in or the tool stack that you have on hand. Normally, it could be something as simple as creating SQL queries just to get a very basic understanding. Are there any averages, or can you sum totals or see different categories in your data set? Or you can use Python to just do a simple exploratory data analysis. And there's a lot of resources on Google on how to do an exploratory data analysis, just to pick up outliers, to see different distributions within your data set. But I would definitely start by getting the business involved and let it be an iterative process. It shouldn't be a once-off asking the business and then you just dive into the data. As you find more things in the data, go back to the business, verify your findings, show them interesting things that you found, any errors, let that be a back and forth. But that's the advice that I would give.
All right, thank you very much, Teko. There's one question here that I hope Dina can answer for us. So this is Noema from Nigeria, and she says that this is her first interaction. She's a novice when it comes to tech, and she would just like to know more. She would just like to have more orientation about tech and probably its impact on her positively and how it can make her relevant as a woman in the society. So just to give it a lot more context on this. So this is someone that is a complete novice in tech, and she's attending this session because she just like to learn about how really important it is that we have women in tech, right? What impact is it going to be for her as a woman and also in the society at large? Hi, Dina, could you answer that for us?
I'm not sure if I got the question correctly. Is the question about how to get into tech in general, or can you just specify the question more so I can better answer?
Okay, so the question has to do with, yes, how to get into tech and how really can we say tech, how important can we say tech is to a woman and its relevance in the society at large. So she's a complete novice to tech and she's just been hearing about, oh, there's tech and it's good for women to get into tech. But how relevant is it? And of course, how can one start going into tech?
Okay, so I think the first step, tech is very broad, as we mentioned before, and as Mercy said, it's really, really broad. So there's a lot of specialization within tech. So I think the first step is maybe to attend forums like the one we're in now, get introduced to different fields, maybe the data world, the mobile development, the telco industry as well. There's a lot of different areas, so maybe she should get like an idea about each field and then decide what she'd be more interested in. Get to know what are the prerequisites of getting into, for example, the telco world. It requires a lot of knowledge about mobile networks for development. It's the same. She can be a technical product owner. So there's a lot of different areas in tech. So she should educate herself first about what each area is about and the skills and the technical requirements important for each part. And then she can decide which area to pursue. And then she can start developing her skills using online resources like Udacity, Coursera, DataCamp, and all the resources available. Get involved in communities, online communities, whether if she's in the data world, for example, she can get into Kaggle, which is a very good data community. And that way she will develop herself and get to know more people in the space she's in. So yeah, as for a woman in tech in general, I mean, I don't like always to highlight that we as women should have a special treatment. I mean, we're professionals and we do the work, so that's what we focus on more. That's basically what I have to say.
All right, thank you so very much for dinner. So, Neymat, I hope you were able to hear that. Do research. Tech is why there's quite a number of places that you can actually get into. So, do proper research. Find a place where your interest aligns, and use resources that are available online. So, I'll quickly do a roundtable with everyone, one more question, and then I can see that there are some questions about the Women Techsters programs as a whole. So, we'll be getting into that very shortly. I can also see that there's some questions related to product management as well as web design. Unfortunately, we don't have a product manager, a product designer, web designer on the call this month. But hopefully we can be able to get someone in those two career paths for the next open day. So quickly to Mercy, I can see there's a question for you. So Adetutu is asking, how long did it take you to move from a total new to senior level? And also how long is like the average, yeah, okay, how long does it take to move from a newbie to a mid-level? That is from someone who literally just entered tech to being a mid-level or a senior level. And I now also saw another question for you that I would like to piggyback that on. Please just give me one moment to find that question. Um, okay. Yes, so there's another question for saying that as a novice in mobile development, what is your take when it comes to learning something new? So those are two questions for you, Messi. I'll quickly take them again because I see time is fast running out. So as a novice in mobile development, what's your take when it comes to learning something new? And how long does it take to move from a complete novice to a mid-level or senior level? Hi, Messi, over to you.
So I will start with the last question. How long does it take to move from one level to another? Well, it is important to think about these things, but when you're a newbie, don't worry about when you become a senior engineer or a mid-level. Just focus on learning, and then once you get like a job, work with your manager to like create a path for you that you can like work hand in hand, where you get like to have meetings and ask, how far am I? What are the things that I need to improve to get to the next level? So the most important thing when you're a newbie is to just focus on learning and getting to like do cool things, learn like when you want to like learn how to like create an app like WhatsApp, just do it. You will get to learn so much from just trying to create what exists into your own. Shift things, make it your own, make it work the way you want it to work. And then with time and with learning, that will transition into your levels. If you're like working in a company that allows growth within your roles. So moving from one level to another is majorly just within your companies, but the most important part is the learning journey. Get better at what you're learning, and then you will feel yourself become better. So if you are struggling with one concept, you'll start just feeling that it's simple, and then you'll also gain confidence to ask these questions to your manager. If you're working in a company, you'll be more confident to be like, I started as an intern, what's my next role, or what do I need to do to become a junior engineer or a mid-level engineer? So having these conversations with your manager will give you a lot more insights on areas that you might have missed out. You might think you're becoming a senior engineer, but really you're not, because you're focusing on just one thing. So talking to your managers, talking to the people you work with for feedback and areas you can improve will help you fast track your development and your transition from one level to another. And the last question is how you learn. You learn through doing. So you want to do something, you want to learn something, just do it, and then you will know if you've learned.
Awesome. I love that. You learn through doing. Awesome. Thank you so very much for that, Mercy. Hi, Yvonne. I said that there are some questions to you. Let me just quickly take them. So the first question here is asking, how can one do Web3 blockchain before, sorry, can one do Web3 that's blockchain before having any experience in Web2 development? And there was another question about coding. I hope you can answer that for us, about what you do when you sort of have like a mental block when it comes to coding and how you get over that. So hi, Yvonne, over to you.
Well, with coding, I'm not sure because, as mentioned, I'm not a developer, but how I see people doing it, like techies when I was in coding school. We just, try and detach from the laptop from a bit and walk around for like a few hours, sleep on it. But I honestly can't tell at this point. That was years back. But in my work, I get a lot of mental blocks. I think as a founder, I get a lot of burnouts as a remote worker because you work even past office hours, get a lot of burnouts. And as an African, you can't really compromise. I've heard in some countries, if you go to the clinic and say, I have a burnout, you get a 3 monthly paid leave. But we don't really have that in Africa. So what I normally do is I just slow down because you don't have certain luxuries. You have to continue working. I've had developers saying that if they move from their desk for like 3 months, they're as good as useless because they can't really, they need to practice. The brain needs to be working. So what I just normally do is slow down, have hobbies. In tech, you can get sucked in, have hobbies, and like I really enjoy Zumba and dancing and gym and all that. So I think that would help. And also taking Sundays off. It's a simple advice, but take Sundays off and go to church, do something. Having that day off, it's Sabbath. Yeah. I think the other question was, if you don't have Web2 development, how do you get into blockchain? As mentioned, you don't need to have Web2 development skills to get into blockchain. But if you do have Web2 development skills, I think the easiest is usually JavaScript. That's the easiest to transition. In fact, in my hub, the ICP hub Kenya, we also have ICP hub South Africa, ICP hub Nigeria, and Ghana and Rwanda. We offer a course for Web2 developers to move to Web3 developers to certify you, and we also give a reward. But for non-developers, I normally advise to just participate. And if you find yourself getting interested in the field, participate. There are so many online communities. I've seen in Kenya, we have the Kenya Blockchain Ladies down. In Nigeria, I've seen millions. I've seen so many. I've seen women in DeFi. I've seen women in Web3. There are so many communities there. In South Africa, there's Hadao. In Rwanda, there's Women in Blockchain Africa. These are the ones I can think of right now. Just being proactive and participate in the communities. Normally, you'd find your way. As I mentioned, in the ecosystem, there's usually, especially in the bull markets, like periods like this, you usually find that there's a high demand of skills, and there's always something you can do. There's always volunteer work you can do. There's always a means to grow your skills, but the main thing is to join a community first. Today I was at an event and for women, and they were saying that you need to establish a tribe. It's a Women in Tech event. When you enter tech, your life changes, your friends change, your mindset changes somehow. I don't know how, but they said that you need to establish your tribe, in like a tribe of women who you work with, who mentor you, who you compete with. And that's how you grow in the ecosystem. So identify your tribe, whether you're a developer or a non-developer, but still want to be part of the tech. It doesn't have to be a woman-focused tribe. You can you can start in a male tribe and grow, because most of us started in a male tribe and had to establish our female tribe later on. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, thank you so very much, Yvonne. We are fast out of time. So, hi, Dina, last question for you. If you can please answer this in 1 minute. And there's a question here about how that for someone with a non-tech background that wants to transition into tech and is scared of coding, what career path would you suggest? And I also saw earlier that someone was asking about how that they would like to study statistics as a career. If you could just give them some advice on like the best career path to take. So that is someone who wants to get into tech but does not like coding, and then someone who would like to study statistics. Hi, Dina, over to you.
Okay, so I think my answer will not be very different from last time. Just explore which part of the tech you want to join, and you can easily take courses in that part. So I think it's the same question, same answer. As for the statistics, I think it's a very good base for pursuing machine learning. So maybe if you decide to get a bachelor's degree in statistics, then you would excel in this part in machine learning and add to it some coding skills. Then I think this will help you excel in machine learning in general. So yeah, that's like a very quick answer and brief regarding those questions.
All right, thank you so very much for that, Dina. In 2 minutes, I would quickly answer all the questions that are towards the Women Techsters program. So I can say a question asking, so for all the questions asking about when the program is going to start, that is when we are going to have the next bootcamp cohort training. Follow Tech for Dev on all social media platforms. We always put information about whenever there is a new cohort happening. So if you're not following us on social media, that is on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter or X, make sure you're following us there and allow your notifications to be whenever the next cohort is that program. Yes, it is a that program. Can you please make sure you follow us? Check all our pages on social media, all the answers there. You get a certificate, yes. And if you're able to position yourself properly, yes, you can actually use the certificates to work. We've had success stories of people who have been able to get jobs both inside and outside Nigeria as a result of taking one of our training programs. So all of our training programs are virtual. And how do you join? You have to apply. Once the call for application comes out, you apply, and if you're chosen, you get in, and then you begin your training. You would like to become a Women Techsters alumni. I hope what I said has already answered your question as well. When the program start, like I said, check and follow us on social media. The ongoing training has already, of course, registration is closed for the current bootsters are in class now, so you can no longer join them. And this is to Teslima, who's asking, who's saying you're interested in software development. Just put an eye out for when the next call for application for bootcamp comes out, so you can apply. Follow us again, Chiamaka. You'll get to know when the next cohort is coming out. I'm not sure I understand your question, Ms. Ryan. What do you mean by subgroup for a learning track? I don't think I understand that. I have answered your question already, Francis. Hi, Thomasin, if you're on the call, if you could please just help with the social media details, just so that we can have people put them. But just search for Tech for Dev on LinkedIn and on IG as well. Tech for Dev, you would see us there. Okay, so let me just be sure I've answered every other question. You want to get, so if I get you correctly, you just finished from cybersecurity and you want to get into data analysis. Yes, that is possible with the bootcamp. You can register multiple times. Just make sure that you register during the time frame when the application comes out, and then you can begin your training. If there are any chances to be enrolled in, yes, there's high favor, there is chance to be enrolled in next bootcamp. Just make sure you apply once the application comes out. Is it expected for us to enroll for the cohort, or are we in? I'm not sure I understand your question, Fozia. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. But yes, you have to apply for the Women Techsters Bootcamp, and then you receive a mail notifying you whether your application was successful or not. Wow. So we have come to the end of the question and answer segment, and we have just one more thing to do before we say our goodbyes on the call. And as I always like to say, when you come for sessions like this, it is very important that you are able to tell the story, right? We do that through all of our social media platforms, and in order to do this, we like to take pictures. I always like to say that we have to take a little picture for the gram. So if you're an attendee still on the call and you'd like to join our picture session, kindly raise your hand up and we will. So if you'd like to join us to take pictures, please just raise your hand once I promote you to the panel session, please kindly turn your video on and make sure you're in good and conducive environment where you can actually turn your video on and unmute, and then we can take our pictures. So please let us get this done in the next 1 minute. I am promoted to the panel session. Please kindly turn your video on, and then we can take our pictures. All right, so I know I've promoted quite a number of persons. If you are on the panel session, please kindly turn your video on so we can take pictures together. Okay, all right. I think we have more than enough persons now in the panel session. All right, please just give me a moment. Yes, so for those of us on the panel session, we are going to be taking picture with a very, very bright smile, and we will be saying women in tech. Yes, so we'll be saying women in tech now. So if you are on the panel session, please just make sure you you open your video and then give us your brightest smile and say women in tech. Yes, so are we ready? Hi Tomatin, is Tomatin still on the call? Okay, I don't see her anymore on the call, so I think we'll just go ahead and then I'll try to take it from my end. All right, so I would say at the count of 3, and then we would a woman in tech. Are we ready? All right. 3, 2, 1, everybody. Women in tech. Okay, so you can unmute and say women in tech. Just to be clear, you can unmute and say women in tech. Okay, so let's do that one more time. So 3, 2, 1, everybody. Women in tech.
Women in tech. Women in tech. Women in tech.
I love this. I love this. Thank you all so very much. So I saw someone asking about how that what do we do after this session? I think it was Dina that mentioned it earlier about how that if you'd like to start, one of the best ways to start is to attend programs like this, sessions like this, where you can get to learn and also network. So if you've learned one or two things from Techo, from Dina, from Mercy, from Yvonne, go on social media, talk about it, go on LinkedIn, write something about it, tag one or two people, tag Tech for Dev, tag any of them, and just let them know that, oh, I attended the Women Techsters Open this session and I instantly loved something that Messi said or something that Techo said. It resonated with me. They're able to answer my questions. That is actually how you start. So at this juncture, I would like to bid us all adieu. Thank you, Techo. Thank you, Messi. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Dina. Thank you so much for accepting our invite to come speak and share your wonderful insight here at the Women Techsters Open. We are thrilled and elated, and we appreciate you so much. Once again, happy International Day of Girls in ICT to everyone on the call. We wish you the very best in all your endeavors in getting into tech. Thank you once again, everybody. Goodbye from this end. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.